Another day breaks, and with it an unexpected new chapter in the basketball world gains momentum, fueled by rumors, quiet backstage movements, and decisions that could completely redraw the NBA landscape. Today, the spotlight turns to two scenarios stirring conversations among analysts, front office executives, and even players in the locker room. The possibility of the Los Angeles Lakers moving aggressively for Lauri Markkanen, and the surprising idea that the Golden State Warriors might be willing to place Domantas Sabonis on their radar. What seemed unlikely months ago now sounds entirely possible, and the signs are coming from everywhere. The discussion around Markkanen grows stronger mainly because the Lakers see in the Utah Jazz forward a rare type of talent capable of shifting the balance of power in the conference. He is not just another versatile offensive player. He combines explosiveness, length, and game intelligence, making him a piece capable of reshaping entire rotations. Los Angeles, fully aware of the urgency of the moment, knows the LeBron era is entering its final chapters, and finding a successor who can take on responsibility without fearing the weight of history has become an absolute priority. The Lakers have the resources to make an aggressive move. The organization does not hide that it has genuine interest and is willing to place significant names on the table, such as Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and even promising young players like Dalton Knecht, as well as future draft picks. The front office knows that players with Markkanen's profile and impact do not become available every day. The window for a negotiation like this is open now and will not remain so indefinitely. Some executives believe this is the perfect moment to strike, before other teams position themselves more forcefully. The Utah Jazz, meanwhile, although they resisted external pressure for months, are beginning to accept the idea of a full rebuild. The franchise still tries to project stability, but the reality is that internal conversations regarding a potential trade have already begun. Even if not publicly acknowledged, the negotiation workshop around Markkanen is already active. And once a door like this opens, it usually does not take long for more aggressive offers to arrive. This is precisely where a curious twist appears. Recent information suggests that the strong season of one of the Jazz's rivals, the Sacramento Kings, is accelerating internal movements. Markkanen's organization has reportedly become less resistant, and that directly affects the market. Interested teams are not discouraged when they sense flexibility in discussions, and that only broadens the range of possibilities for the Finnish forward. Teams from both conferences are monitoring the situation because they know his talent fits almost any system. Among those teams, one stands out particularly: the Golden State Warriors. While many believed the franchise would shift into a more conservative rhythm after recent changes and the natural aging of its historic core, the team seems to be thinking the exact opposite. The idea of regrouping elite talent to jumpstart a new competitive cycle has regained momentum, and Markkanen emerges as a strategic target, not merely an impactful signing. Inside the Warriors, there is an understanding that the roster needs a new vector of star power. Stephen Curry remains the heartbeat of the team, but the front office knows that relying heavily on a player who is already past 35 carries risk. Jonathan Kuminga has developed into a dominant physical presence, but he has yet to prove he can be a reliable offensive focal point night after night. For that reason, the franchise is reportedly prepared to put him at the center of a trade offer for the Jazz forward. The information that Golden State may have already submitted an initial offer involving Kuminga does not surprise anyone who closely follows the league. The Warriors' playing model has always been built on quick movement, spacing, and collective reading of the game, and Markkanen fits that framework perfectly. His ability to score in transition, attack mismatches, stretch the floor with long-range shooting, and still contribute defensively makes him a potential pillar for a new identity. On the other hand, Sacramento also enters the conversation. The presence of Domantas Sabonis, one of the smartest and most productive big men in the league, completely changes the landscape for any team targeting Markkanen. If the Kings' season continues at its current pace, it is natural that more teams will try to take advantage of any internal instability. However, the rumor that the Warriors might be considering Sabonis is something that shakes the very foundations of the NBA. The possibility of Sabonis playing alongside Curry would elevate the franchise's game to an entirely different level, especially given the complementary nature of their skills. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the conversation around Markin also grows through the lens of the future. LeBron James, even while maintaining impressive numbers, is clearly not planning to extend his career indefinitely. He is still dominant, but physical wear is inevitable. Bringing in a player like Markin is not just about winning now, but about paving the way for the next chapter of the franchise. The idea that the Finnish forward could become the primary offensive reference once LeBron decides to end his journey is something that deeply appeals to the front office. This expectation intensifies because Markin is not seen solely as a great scorer, but as someone with the mentality to lead a team. His discipline, technical evolution, and lack of off-court controversies make him an ideal profile for the Lakers' environment. That increases the urgency for Los Angeles, who know that if they do not act quickly, Golden State or another franchise could jump in ahead of them. The fans are watching closely. Social media has exploded with theories, speculation, and mock-ups featuring Markin wearing purple and gold. Supporters imagine an attack where he shares responsibilities with Anthony Davis, creating a combination of versatility that would be nearly impossible to guard. At the same time, many fans express concern over the potential departure of Reeves, who has become a local favorite. For part of the fan base, losing him would be emotionally difficult, but still acceptable if it means landing a player of Markin's caliber. The pressure on the Jazz continues to rise. With so many teams interested, the market value of the player increases, creating an internal dilemma. Accept a strong offer now or wait in hopes of extracting even more later? The answer is not simple. The Jazz must decide whether they want to fully restructure or try to maintain a competitive roster in the short term. Meanwhile, the rumors keep growing. What is striking is that this dispute is not only sporting, but strategic. The Lakers and the Warriors represent two completely different models of franchise building. Los Angeles operates through the power of its brand, its history, and its ability to attract stars even in moments of instability. Golden State, in contrast, leans on tactical intelligence, internal development, and a culture of collective play. Both need Markin for different reasons, but both understand that he could reshape their paths. Each new update seems to add layers. Sources close to the Jazz say the front office is carefully evaluating every offer. Other sources claim the player is not forcing his way out, but is open to moving if a truly competitive opportunity appears. That increases the value of whichever team submits the strongest proposal. And within this organized chaos, the inevitable question arises: who is closer to sealing the deal? The Lakers, with their immediate appeal, or the Warriors, with a system where Markin could become even more dominant? For now, nothing is decided, but each step, each leak, each internal conversation suggests that something big is about to happen. As the backstage tension continues to erupt, it feels as though the entire NBA is breathing faster, waiting for the outcome of this silent yet intense race for Lauri Markkanen. And the most intriguing part is that the more leaks appear, the clearer it becomes that none of the parties involved are acting impulsively. Everything is calculated, everything is strategic, everything is part of a larger game in which each move can increase or decrease value, open opportunities, or close them permanently. For the Los Angeles Lakers, timing is crucial. The front office knows that if they take too long, they may lose their competitive edge. But if they act too early, they risk overpaying for a player whose final value has not yet been truly established this season. It is a delicate dance, and no one inside the franchise wants to repeat past mistakes when rushed decisions compromised long-term planning. This dilemma becomes even clearer when discussing Austin Reeves. He is not just a useful player, he is one of the few talents capable of adapting to LeBron James's style without losing his own identity. His game reading, intelligence, controlled aggression, and ability to shine in decisive moments make him a rare piece. Losing Reeves would be an emotional and technical blow, but keeping Reeves at the cost of losing Markkanen may also mean giving up an entire future of potential stardom. While the Lakers try to solve this complicated equation, Golden State moves with the cold precision of an organization that has lived through dozens of similar scenarios. The franchise fully understands Kuminga's value, his evolution, his physical explosion, and his ability to punish unprepared defenses. But it also recognizes that Markin offers something Kuminga may not reach in the short term: absolute consistency. Markin has already proven he can be the primary offensive option on a team. Kuminga is on the path to that, but he is not completely there yet. And for a team desperate to balance the transition between the present and the future, this detail can make all the difference. The Warriors' front office is evaluating everything with care, analyzing each impact, each shift in dynamics, each tactical adjustment that would be required if the Finnish star were added to the roster. And then Sacramento enters the picture. When the Kings show up in these conversations, everything changes in scale. This is because Domantas Sabonis is not an alternative target. He is, in himself, a player capable of reshaping any team's offense. His playmaking intelligence, his strength inside the paint, his ability to create for himself and for others make him one of the most complete centers in the league. The mere idea that Golden State would have considered Sabonis in negotiations ignites the imagination, because it is almost a perfect tactical match. For the Jazz, Sacramento's rise creates an internal conflict. On one hand, Markin is a piece the team could use to rebuild or maximize his value in the market. On the other hand, trading him could significantly strengthen a direct rival in the Western Conference. And this is not something Utah takes lightly. Whenever a player of this caliber is close to being traded, the competitive impact must be measured with care. Sending Markin to Los Angeles or San Francisco would completely shift the conference balance. This is a point many people overlook. Every NBA trade involves politics. Not only internal politics, but competitive politics. And the Jazz understand this better than anyone. Every phone call in the office, every scout's report, every executive's suggestion is part of a complex and delicate mechanism. Meanwhile, Markin, surprisingly, remains silent. No public statements, no behind-the-scenes pressure, no hints of dissatisfaction. He seems to understand that this moment is not just about him, but about an entire system trying to find its place in the league's increasingly volatile landscape. His silence, however, speaks louder than many interviews. It speaks of professionalism, maturity, and above all, an awareness of his own value. What few people know is that Los Angeles has already begun mapping every possible scenario if they secure the deal. The team is already imagining how the offense would function with Markin alongside Anthony Davis, two big mobile players capable of spacing the floor and protecting the rim. This would open space for new play designs, new combinations, new offensive rhythms. It would be a smooth yet profound transition that would reshape every pattern within the team. Golden State, on the other hand, sees Markin not just as reinforcements, but as an opportunity to redefine the team's identity for the coming years. With Curry still the main reference, but already on the final stretch of his career, they must find someone capable of taking the torch immediately. And Markin has exactly that profile: explosive, intelligent, adaptable, efficient, and above all, with room to grow even more within a functional system. And here lies a key point: culture. Both teams understand that signing a player of this level is not just about acquiring talent. It is about bringing someone who fits perfectly into the organization's philosophy. For the Lakers, this means dealing with the pressure of a franchise accustomed to cinematic narratives, where every win and loss becomes national debate. For the Warriors, it means entering a consolidated structure where team basketball is sacred and decisions are taken with surgical precision. Markin, by his nature, could adapt to both environments. He has the discretion and focus that the Warriors value, and he has the strength and quiet star quality that the Lakers desperately need. This dilemma is not only for the teams involved, it is also for the player himself, who inevitably carries expectations wherever he goes. At the Sacramento Kings, meanwhile, Sabonis observes everything naturally. He knows rumors are part of NBA life, but he also knows his impact on the team is enormous. A player with his level of production is unlikely to be traded, but the mere existence of such rumors affects the entire environment. Some analysts believe that the Kings' presence in these discussions is precisely what is accelerating the other teams to act. Nothing increases urgency more than knowing a rival could strike first. The market is, essentially, boiling. Agents are moving pieces behind the scenes. Franchises are reviewing reports. Analysis departments are preparing new projections. Everything is being measured. Financial impact, technical impact, cultural impact, long-term impact. A trade involving Markin does not only change a season, it changes the future. And while each team calculates, evaluates, adjusts, and returns to the drawing board, one question continues to echo among executives. Who will dare first? Because when this move finally comes, it will not be discreet. It will be an earthquake, a turning point, something that will shift the NBA's balance immediately. With each new update emerging behind the scenes, the league seems to hold its breath, because everyone knows that the first team to make a move will set the tone for the coming weeks. The market is sensitive, heated, alert, and any sign of aggression can trigger a domino effect that will hit several franchises at once. That is precisely what makes the pursuit of Lauri Markkanen so electrifying. It is not just about a player, it is about the impact he generates across the entire NBA ecosystem. The Los Angeles Lakers, for example, are living through a kind of race against an invisible clock. They know this could be the final cycle with LeBron James performing at a high level. No franchise wants to close such a historic era without trying absolutely everything to maximize its final chapter. And that is what heightens the internal intensity of meetings, phone calls, and projections. The front office must balance two worlds, the now and the future. They need to reinforce the team immediately, but they also cannot completely mortgage the post-LeBron years. Would Markkanen's arrival solve that? In many ways, yes. He brings youth, versatility, and star potential. It would be a smooth, almost natural transition. But to make it happen, someone will have to leave. It is at this point that meetings heat up and disagreements surface. There is a group within the franchise willing to put everything on the table. Another, more conservative, fears that giving up Reeves or Knecht could create an irreversible regret. The discussion, however, goes beyond names. It is about what each player represents for the team's playing style and emotional identity. At the same time, on the other side of the West Coast, the Golden State Warriors are crafting a strategy that is subtler but equally ambitious. They are not simply trying to acquire Markkanen, they are assessing how his arrival could completely shift the team's center of gravity. The departure of Kuminga, should it truly occur, is not treated coldly. Internally, everyone recognizes the young player's value. But they also recognize that Kuminga is still developing, whereas Markkanen is already ready to be an instant main figure, and this leads to the more strategic details that almost never appear in headlines. The Warriors are at a delicate crossroads. They need to define which path to follow, a fast, immediate reconstruction centered around an already established talent like Markkanen, or a slower rebuild that bets on the natural development of Kuminga, Podziemski, and other young players. The temptation to accelerate everything is strong, very strong. After all, as long as Stephen Curry remains healthy, any chance at a title must be treated as an absolute priority. And here enters the Sacramento Kings, the piece often overlooked but which in this story takes on a crucial role. The mere fact that Sabonis is being mentioned in trade discussions, even superficially, already creates seismic ripples among interested teams. This is because if the Kings have decided to listen to conversations, even informally, it means other players could be entering evaluative territory as well. And that completely changes the dynamic between Lakers and Warriors, who start acting more cautiously and with more urgency at the same time. Sacramento know that Sabonis is the creative heart of the team, the engine that makes everything work. His departure would be catastrophic for the team's current identity, but the NBA is a world where nothing is entirely impossible. And when rumors like these arise, even fragile ones, rival teams do not ignore them. They listen, they observe, they reassess their cards. And this directly influences the race for Markkanen because any movement involving Sabonis creates a rearrangement of values, options, and priorities. In the midst of this explosive scenario, there is a detail many overlook. Markkanen is an extremely coveted player because he fits any style. He can be the second scorer of a contender, the main figure of a rebuilding franchise, or the ideal complementary piece for a team that already has two established stars. This adaptability raises his importance and, at the same time, amplifies the desperation of the teams pursuing him. The Lakers see in him the successor who can sustain the franchise's legacy in the coming years. The Warriors see the opportunity to extend their competitive window for another 5 or 6 seasons. The Kings, even without directly trying to acquire Markkanen, influence the entire process simply by existing as a competitive rival to the Jazz. And the Jazz, in turn, must decide which philosophy will guide the next years of the franchise. The Utah Jazz are being pressured from all sides, and this pressure is not only about market value. There is a deep understanding within the organization that keeping a player who will inevitably gain more prominence in the league can be dangerous if the team is not ready to compete at the same level. The franchise lives in a complicated threshold: rebuild now or try to resist for another season or two. Both options carry enormous risks. And as all this unfolds, a silent truth begins circulating among league executives. Whoever lands Markkanen will not simply be adding a reinforcement, they will be removing a direct rival from the board. The Lakers, the Warriors, and any other team that enters the race are aware of this. It is not just about improving, it is about preventing the other from becoming better. Internal reports within the franchises are now diving into forecasts of real impact. What would the Lakers' offense look like with Markkanen taking 20 shots per game? How would the Warriors reorganize their spacing if they added the Finn alongside Curry and Draymond Green? How would the Jazz approach a more aggressive rebuild? How would Sacramento react upon seeing two potential direct competitors arming themselves to fight for the top of the conference? These questions feed the atmosphere of uncertainty that hangs over the negotiations. And the more time passes, the clearer it becomes that the outcome is close, very close. The narrative continues to tie itself together because all these stories are connected by an invisible thread of urgency, ambition, and strategy. Each team wants more than just a simple move. They want a move that redefines the future. Kai returned to the court with an impressive performance, reaffirming his status as one of the most promising talents in Asian basketball. In a recent game against Kyoto, he delivered a spectacular performance, scoring 20 points, grabbing 4 rebounds, and dishing out 3 assists. These numbers not only stand out in the stats, but also showcase the constant evolution of a player who becomes more complete with each game. From the first minute, it was clear he was ready to shine. Combining height, agility, and technical skills, he dominated the paint, leaving opposing defenders without answers. His mid-range shots were sharp, a reflection of the continuous effort he dedicates to improving his game. Moreover, his court vision became evident in decisive moments, distributing assists and connecting his teammates in important plays. When the game reached its most tense moments, Kai took responsibility, showing leadership and composure. In the third quarter, he made a memorable play by dribbling past 2 defenders, converting a crucial basket, and hitting the free throw after being fouled. Plays like this not only excite the crowd, but also highlight his ability to perform under pressure, a key trait for any player with ambitions of reaching the NBA. His fans have plenty of reasons to be excited. Kai is about to hit historic milestones in the B-League. With just 76 points remaining to reach 1,000 career points, he is approaching a select group of players known for their offensive consistency. Additionally, he has already surpassed 500 rebounds, establishing himself as a dominant presence in the paint on both offense and defense. He not only protects the painted area with authority, but also creates crucial second-chance opportunities for his team. Another important achievement is nearing. He is just 4 assists away from reaching 100 assists in the league. This reinforces his ability to create opportunities and involve his teammates in strategic plays. These numbers directly reflect the impact Kai brings to the court. His combination of imposing physicality, technical ability, and tactical intelligence makes him one of the most complete players in the league. Every point, rebound, and assist brings him closer not only to records but also to the dream of playing in the NBA. His performance has caught the attention of analysts and commentators who already consider him a player capable of raising the competitive level of the B-League. Comparisons with great past big men are starting to emerge, highlighting his potential to leave a legacy in international basketball. But for Kai, more than statistics or records, the important thing is to keep evolving and making his mark in every game. Kai Sotto's future has been one of the most debated topics among fans and experts, and one of the most mentioned destinations for him in the NBA is the Golden State Warriors. The franchise's fans have already started a campaign on social media asking for his signing, believing he could be the missing piece to strengthen the team. The Warriors are known for their fast and dynamic style of play, with an emphasis on long-distance shooting and constant movement. However, one of the team's weak points has been the lack of a dominant presence in the paint, someone who can protect the defensive area, grab rebounds, and bring balance to the team. Kai fits exactly that profile. His impressive height and game-reading ability are characteristics that could transform the Warriors' performance. Moreover, his international experience, facing different styles of basketball around the world, makes him an interesting prospect for a franchise looking to refresh its roster without sacrificing competitiveness. For the Warriors, signing Kai would represent a low-risk, high-potential move. He has already demonstrated his ability to contribute both defensively and offensively, being an efficient finisher near the basket and constantly improving his mid-range shot. Combining this with his competitive mindset and dedication to improvement, he would fit well into the team's system. The fans are excited about this possibility, knowing that players with Kai's skill set and potential are rare. For many, he could be exactly what the team needs to get back to competing for the top spot in the NBA. If you like the content, leave a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything about the Warriors. Thanks, and see you in the next video.